All right, shalom, shalom, Israel, right? Shar Shabbat, right? Most High willing, everybody's feeling well and during these last days, man, and continuing to fight the good fight, man, as we could get closer and closer to the end, right? So another beautiful Shabbat, another day of rest. Most High willing, everybody is keeping the Shabbat in holiness and in sincerity, right? We coming at you with another video today. This one is entitled "The Witchcraft of Esau and Babylon," and it's a second part of it that I didn't add, not to make the title too long, but the witchcraft of Esau and Babylon and why you should be locked in, right? The witchcraft of Esau and Babylon and why you should be locked in, right? So I'm gonna kick it off with the opening precepts, right? It's the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Yahushua, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Him. Right, so everything we do in word or deed, we do it all in the name of the Lord Yahushua, giving thanks to the Most High God Yahweh. That's why we say, "Call Allah Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Wamalak Yahushua." That's all honor and glory to the Most High God through His Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Right, this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 11, and it reads, "And He gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Yahushua." So everything we do is for the perfecting of the saints, the work of the ministry, and the edifying of the body of Yahushua, right? That they may be perfected and beautified and prepared for the marriage, because we commanded to be perfect. Right now, so this class, as I said, it's not really a class per se. We didn't structure out a bunch of precepts that we're gonna put together and time together. It's a video that a brother in the truth had happened to send me. And when you look through the video, it's something that's very important for us to understand, right? What's being brought forth, because this is actually what's happening. And through understanding this, you get to see, Esau's witchcraft, and what he's doing to our minds, and why we should be locked in and focused in these last days, that we fall not victim to his witchcraft, right? Falling victim to his witchcraft is going to get you the second death, right? Being locked in is going to get you to be saved from the second death, right? So, I'll let Jay might open up anything he got to open up with, and then we'll play the video.
No, we can get in there.
I'm gonna share my screen. Right, this video is entitled "Why Things Feel Off Lately." Right, the glitch. Right, we'll probably play 3 or 4 minutes in, and then stop, and then go to talk about it and pull a couple of precepts, and then finish the video out.
Your memory, and if you're not paying attention, it might take your identity with it. This isn't a crisis that you're going to see on the news. It's just a slow fade. It's a blur. It's literally mass amnesia. It's not a call to panic. This is an invitation, not to believe, to notice. If your mind's been foggy, if you've felt off, unfocused, or not quite you are not alone. I'm going to show you what's happening, how to know if you're being affected by it, and how to find your way back. Let's pull back the curtain on what's been quietly reshaping your inner world without your permission. Most people think they're making choices, what to read, what to feel, what matters. What if it's been curated? These algorithms know exactly what sparks your anger, what's going to piss you off. They know when you're lonely. They predict the moment that you're going to crave attention. Once they know that, they don't just show you what you want. They build who you become. AI doesn't wait to see who you are. It decides which options that you will even see. The news, the trends, you are being led somewhere. A reality manufactured by code that you will never read and systems that you never really consented to. This isn't just manipulation. That is a structural erosion of self, of identity. Our instincts start to dull, our beliefs soften into a silence, and it's not done through force. First, you feel numb, constantly reactive. You might swing between apathy and agitation without a lot of clear causes for it. That is a nervous system that is overstimulated by artificial inputs. We are scrolling, swiping, clicking, and reacting. Our brains were never meant for this much input. Being alone with no music, no internet feels almost unbearable. And modern neuroscience shows us that without deep, undistracted focus, our brains can't transfer short-term experiences into long-term memory. It's like our lives are now being written in disappearing ink. You might not be able to recall conversations or moments or maybe a feeling from last year. That is not just stress. It is a breakdown in memory encoding. 1 degree here, another forgotten moment somewhere else. Your attention fragments. Psychologists call this cognitive drift, but in this era, it's something darker. You don't just forget moments. You forget identity. You forget yourself. How do you know if this is happening to you? Maybe you used to be curious or passionate or driven, and now those traits just feel like something distant that you can't grab anymore. You start to believe that none of it matters. Meaning starts fading and apathy starts spreading. What we're talking about here is not just burnout. This is the final symptoms. The self just gets really vulnerable. And at this moment, you are ready to be rewritten. And they can write that story for you. So if any of that hit close to...
Right. So we'll stop it right there. Right. And we'll, through the spirit, discuss and pull a couple of precepts about what was just presented. Right. He brought out a lot in a short amount of time. And anybody who's paying attention knows that everything he said is 100% spot on. Right. Like the algorithm is set up to do exactly what it's supposed to do. It shows you what it wants you to see. It shows you what it wants you to hear. It, like, you'll literally open your phone and things you were thinking about are what's being shown on your phone through Google, through Instagram, the Explore page. And it's beating it into your head to be a certain way, to think a certain way, to operate a certain way, right? And little by little, you start losing, your way, losing who you are, losing what you were, right? Losing the way that you think, the way you operate, right? This is why social media is breaking up marriages, right? This is why social media is having kids, the whole YN spirit is based upon social media, based upon what the algorithm is doing to our youths, right? They're forgetting the ways of their lives. Right. And it's the same way. Brothers and sisters are in this truth. Brothers and sisters are in this truth and literally continuously losing their way due to the algorithm set up. And this is all the witchcraft of Esau. Right. This is witchcraft. This is wizardry. Right. So let me pull out this precept. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 7. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever. So thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst thou remember the latter end of it. Therefore, hear now this, that thou art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of the children. Right? This is not talking about Israel. This is one nation. This is the so-called white man. This is Babylon saying, I shall not sit as a widow. Right? But listen on. It says what? Verse 9. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantment. Right? The multitude of thy sorceries. Right? This place has a multitude of sorceries, man. It's a bunch of witchcraft continuing on in this place. Right? And it starts with what he does and how he programs you with social media and programming. And the algorithm is literally set up to literally know what your reaction is, to know how you're going to know who you are. It knows who you are because of the things you research, right? The things you watch, right? It knows who you are, right? So it knows what to show you. It knows what to play into your mind and to set the pace of your mind, and you constantly lose yourself. Think about if you look at certain things dealing with your health, right? You're always looking up things dealing with your health, trying to figure out what's going on with yourself, right? Every time you open up the damn Instagram page on Explorer, it's going to be a bunch of stuff dealing with health, right? That's how it is, right? So if you look at things about, if you have anger issues, whatever it may be, right? And it's and on top of that, it also shapes it for you. So certain things will be set up for you to look at, even though you didn't look for it. And then you continue to click on it. And now all of a sudden, this is what you're continuing to look at. And the algorithm is continuing to show you that, right? And now it's literally programming your mind to be exactly what it wants you to be. And you continuously lose more and more of yourself, right? Hey, as Israelites, we have to find a way to opt out of this. I'm always telling, brothers, sisters, my household, hey, you got to be very careful with your phone. You got to be very careful with the idolatry of your phone, making your phone a god. A lot of times, brothers and sisters are so attached to social media, they don't even understand it. They don't even realize how attached they are. You're looking at your phone all night. You wake up in the morning, you're looking at your phone again. And you're watching a movie with your family, and you're looking at your phone while the movie's playing. This is what he's talking about. This is how you're losing yourself. This is the amnesia that is building towards you, and it's all part of Esau's witchcraft to build the cyborg that it wants you to be, right? So it says what? Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, and hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and misery and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off. And a desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now in thine enchantments, and in the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Right? So hey, it's the multitude of sorceries in this place, man. Nothing but witchcraft. Right, nothing but wizards and damn magicians, man. Just like in the time of Egypt, wizardry and Egyptians. Right. Let me go to the book of Exodus. Right, because ain't this Egypt again? It's the book of Exodus, chapter 8 and verse 7. Right, and it says, and the magicians did so with their enchantment, and brought up the frogs upon the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron and said, entreat the Lord that he may take away the frogs from me and from thy people, and I will let the people go, and they may do sacrifice unto the Lord. And Moses said unto Pharaoh, glory over me. When shall I entreat for thee, for thy servants and for thy people, to destroy the frogs from thee and thy house? And they shall remain in the river only. And he said, tomorrow. And he said, be it according to thy word, that thou mayest know that there is none like unto the Lord our power. And all the frogs shall depart from thee, and thy houses from thy servants, and from thy people, that they shall remain in the river only. And Moses and Aaron went out from the Pharaoh, and Moses cried unto the Lord because of the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. And the Lord did according to the word, and Moses, and the frogs died out of the house, in the villages, and out of the fields. And they gathered together upon the heaps in the shank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was respite, he hardened his heart and hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. Now, the reason why I continue to read on, right, is because literally what? The Egyptians, they used magicians, right? But ultimately, they still had not the power of the Most High God. They still needed the Most High God in order for things to go back to the way they wanted it to be. But in their minds, they thought that the powers of the magicians was equal to the Lord's, until the Lord had to show forth his power and his strength. That hey, you are nowhere near the Lord. Just like it says in Isaiah, you stand in the power of your enchantments and your sorcery, saying that I am he. Right? That's what Pharaoh was doing. It's the same thing that the so-called white man does today, saying I am he and there's none beside me. Right? That's what they're doing with this witchcraft, with this social media. And it says what? I'm gonna jump down to verse 18. And the magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not. So were there lice upon man and upon beast. Then the magician said unto Pharaoh, this is the finger of the Most High. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not unto them as the Lord had said. The point is what? Once again, he tried to use his magicians, right? But they had to tell him, hey, this is the Lord. We don't have this type of power, right? The Lord is going to have to show forth his strange and terrible act for Esau to understand he's not the Most High. Right now, he still believes he's the Most High, and he's setting forth his witchcraft. He's setting forth his sorceries, right? Literally to take over our minds, right? To keep us in wickedness, to keep us in sin, to give us that amnesia, further amnesia. We already got amnesia. We already don't remember who we are. We already lost our heritage, right? So how much more so should we be structured and focused, knowing that we've already had amnesia? We're just starting to recover our memory. And he gave us these phones to take that memory back from us. So we got to be focused even more, man. We got to utilize this same phone that he gave us to give us more amnesia to go against him, man. Hey, look into the Blue Letter Bible on this phone, right? Hey, look into the different translations of the Bibles on this phone. Bible tools. Watch your YouTube videos, right? Don't give all your time to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, right? And whatever the hell else Jake is on, man. What you got it, King?
Now, Khan, a lot of good points. And as you said, it's a lot to touch on. Like, as far as what you brought out and what that dude brought out in that little 4-minute clip, like what you was going into earlier as far as the clip and how you're programmed through social media and these devices. A while ago, it was when did this come out? It came out in 2020, right? So this is when everybody was sitting down at home on their devices, right? This is during the pandemic. And it was on Netflix, a documentary that came out that when I seen it, it made me had to sit and reflect my damn self to where I'm telling people about it. And you'll be surprised at the pushback that I'm getting from just watching the documentary. It's called The Social Dilemma, right? And it's just going more so into Facebook, but ultimately all these devices use these same type of algorithms. And like what the brother Gabor was saying, as far as what you engage on, like the things that, you know, interest you and you engage with, whether it be, you know, let's just say you as in the truth, you know what I'm saying? You got videos of scoffers in debates or whatever, like whatever triggers you that you engaging on, they're putting that on your feed or whatever you're liking. Every time you like, every time you share, every time like from a certain page, it just starts. This is all that is spitting out to you because it wants to keep you engaged. That's exactly what this social dilemma was talking about. It'll randomly it noticed that you ain't been on in quite some time, and then it'll send you a notification for a random. It might be a person that you follow that you ain't never even jumped on. Oh, such and such is live. Oh, such and such just made a post. Oh, such and such. It keeps trying to reel you back in to make you look at that phone again. And like the brother said, also like you're disconnected from family time and everything. The kids don't really go outside no more, right? They're more so on devices. And the crazy thing about it is, my rib just sent me this like last week. The new villain on Toy Story 5, there's a Toy Story 5 coming out. The villain is a tablet. You can't make this up because that's taking the attention away. Like the toys, all they want on Toy Story, their whole goal is to get played with by their owner. Like that's all they want more than everything. When the attention is taken away from them, they're upset. They're trying to gain it back. But now, like the little still image that I seen as an advertisement is they're in a dark room. The kid is on the bed with a blanket over his head with a tablet. All you see is a little tablet, like, and the toy is looking like this is some BS. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the reality. And low key, this was kind of through the spirit, because it's like I was just talking to my daughter about this type of stuff last night. Like, these things ain't always gonna be here, and there's gonna come a day to where, like, 'cause she likes to craft. There's gonna come a day to where you're not gonna be able to go on YouTube and look at how-to videos, or any of these things are not gonna be available. And we got to get back to where we was at to learn how to be self-sufficient. You know what I'm saying? Because how I put this, I mean, that's just pretty plain. We got to get back to those points to where we can be self-sufficient. Because at one point in time, like, when the brother was talking about the identity, right? Losing your identity. And Gabar just touched on, as far as, you looking at all these things, and then it's like you're looking at everybody else's lifestyle, and it's pulling you away from who you actually are. Well, at one point in time, like like you said, bro, ruining marriages and stuff like that, and everything in life. At one point in time, you didn't have all these millions of people to look at online. At one point in time, you didn't have all these advertisements on get rich quick schemes and all this. You grew up and you wanted to be a carpenter. You grew up, you wanted to be this, you wanted to be that. Now you're looking at everybody's lifestyle and how they get money, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, you know what, maybe I might try this. Maybe you're getting away from yourself. And the point is that's not the point. Our focal point should be on, our actual heritage, our actual goals, you know what I'm saying, as far as trying to attain to a kingdom. But we do have to recognize how these things have just pulled us away from, who we are as a person. You know what I'm saying? But and it's ultimately, like the brother said, witchcraft. Let me get that definition real quick. Just the first thing that pops up. So witchcraft, it says the practice of magic, especially for evil purposes, especially for evil purposes, the use of spells, right? And these things ultimately have you like in a trance state, to where you're just, you're overly consumed with it, right? It's kind of like you are in a spell. And we know what the Bible says about when it concerning witchcraft, concerning sorceries, concerning enchantments, all these type of things. Like, let me grab the classic real quick. This 1 Samuel 15, and I'll just start at 22. It says, and Samuel said, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as in obeying the voice of the Lord. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams, right? So we got to be obedient to the Lord. But this is the point. Verse 23, for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry, right? And it's showing you how deep rebellion is, because witchcraft is ultimately a sin up to death, right? So we can't let these things control us, to the fact that where we're getting pulled away from the Lord, because we say that time and time again. We'll say this about money, we'll say this about a job, we'll say this about a lot of things in life. But no, you can't take my phone away. You know what I'm saying? Can't take. I gotta have my phone. But here we go. Go to Exodus 22 and 18. It's right here. It say, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." And what does a witch do? A witch does witchcraft, right? That's a sin unto death, right? So it's pretty plain. Let me grab one more real quick. This is Colossians 3. It says, from the top, it says, if ye then be risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Hamashiach sitteth on the right hand of Yahweh. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth, right? And you will look at this phone and be like, I don't really care about that phone. My affections ain't on that phone, but it's everything. This is what I was telling my daughter, right? All right. So at one point in time, if we wanted to, people had physical calendars on their wall. Now they go to their phone. At one point in time, people had physical compasses. Now, if I want to try to face the east to pray, I got an app on my phone. People had physical calculators. In class, you had the T81 or whatever. Now I could just go on my phone. If I wanted to go look up a business or something like that, I would go get the yellow pages. Now I just go to my phone. If I wanted to, whatever, if I wanted direction somewhere, I would go buy a physical map. Now I just go on my phone. If I like, everything is right there at your hands, right? If I wanted to take a picture of something just to capture a memory, I had an actual camera. Now it's on my phone. Like everything, like a person can leave a wallet at home, right? And then like at one point in time, you used to feel like, oh shoot, damn, I gotta turn around, go back home. But now there's such thing as Google and Apple Wallet, to where if if I leave it, I'm not worried about it as long as I got my phone. But if I don't got my phone, it's the end of the world. And that's what we come to, and that's problematic. But you got it, King.
Yeah, I want to read something real quick. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, like you just said, a lot of people will say, I'm not addicted to my phone, or I'm not under a spell, so on and so forth. They'll say these things, right? So I just want to pull this up. I don't need to I'll present my screen so brothers and sisters to read it as well, right? Right. I Googled how to know if I'm under a spell. It says being under a spell typically refers to being heavily influenced or captivated by something or someone, often to the point of losing control or acting against one's own will. Right. I want brothers and sisters to really examine that definition and think about how you are with your phone. Think about that. Heavily influenced, right? Or captivated by something, right? Hey, all brothers and sisters, all of us at some point are heavily influenced and captivated by our phones, man. All of us. And that's not what the Lord wants from us, man. That is literally idolatry. You know what I'm saying? And we have to examine that, and we have to literally understand why that's happening. And it's because of Esau's witchcraft to draw us further away from the Most High, man. And his job is to keep us in captivity, man. His job is to keep us as far away from the Most High as possible, right? And every moment that we spend so much concern about our phone and being captivated by Instagram and captivated. Hey, back when they didn't even have, when they had like 3G phones and it wasn't 5G and LTE, and it wasn't as easy to get on MySpace and stuff like that and Facebook. Well, nobody's staying on their phone like that, man. Well, nobody having their phone in their hand all day like that, man. But when they made it accessible to be able to see everything so easily, right? Everything has a mobile version. And now they don't even want you going to the desktop site. Everything, you try to go to the desktop site on your phone, it says it forces you to download the app. That's part of it. They don't want you. They want it to be where you can just touch it and go right to it. You see? And the app gonna send you what? Like J Mike said, it's gonna send you those notifications. Everything wants to send you notifications. Hey, you ain't been in the app in a while. Hey, let me send them a notification. Get them in here real quick. It's what it's doing. It's programming you to consistently be worried about it. You kind of put your phone up. You kind of put it over there. Like, yeah, I'm gonna watch the movie with my family. You kind of look to the side. Kind of, oh shit. Kind of look. Damn, I gotta see what it is. And that's captivated. You are under a spell, right? And we're losing to that. That's why the Lord says, let me get this precept. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 1 and verse 10. It says, my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. You see? Consent thou not. Hey, the so-called white man, he's the biggest sinner of them all. And he's enticing us, right? With the things he's given us with these phones, right? With this social media. He's enticing us. Right? Our job is not to consent unto him, man. Our job is to know who we are. Remember, the videos talk about amnesia. We gotta get past this amnesia and remember who we are, man. Hey, we are the Lord's inheritance, man. Right? We receive of the Lord, man. That's our God, man. Not this damn phone, man. Not TikTok, not Snapchat, man. Not Instagram. And everybody got an excuse. Oh, I was just looking at a recipe. Put your damn phone down. I was just looking at a workout. I was telling Pa the other day, not to get too, I got a couple precepts, but not to get too far off note. I was telling Paul the other day, I was like, as somebody in the fitness world, I've been in the fitness world since 2016, right? Almost 10 years, right? And the social media platform has increased the fitness world. It's probably tripled it, right? But it's done just as much harm to it as it's done good, because what you see in the gym now is everybody recording their workouts more than working out. Everybody's getting a gym membership, but nobody's working out. Everybody's just in there taking pictures, recording. I've seen women walk in the gym, go straight to the mirror, take pictures, and walk out. I've seen it. All because they're captivated with their phone, with the like button, seeing how many likes they get. They're under the spell of the euphoria of seeing I got 100 likes. And that could make somebody's day. And it could make some, hey man, 150 likes today, it's a good day. Brother posts a picture, you only get 10 likes, you mad.
And real quick, just to add to what you're saying, and then just the opposite, right? If you don't get as many likes, it'll tear you down. That's what that social dilemma was going into. And then on the social dilemma, it shows that era of these kids that's into that, the teenagers, the suicide rate is high. It's high because their whole purpose of life, or their self-value, or you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's predicated upon the attention that they get on social media and the likes and all those type of things. And they feel like if don't nobody tune in or tap into them, or they're not liking their videos as much, now you got them wanting to transform themselves. It's not just the suicide rate, but it's also them wanting surgeries on themselves and enhancements to try to make themselves look better. And that should speak volumes in itself. But my bad, you got it.
No. Mighty point, because just to add to that, I was actually I was reading this, right? It's some 16-year-olds that just end up going to the hospital for steroid abuse at 16. And they ain't playing no sports. They trying to be fitness influencers at 16. So they shooting up steroids trying to look jacked, so they can get more likes and more views to be fitness influencers, man. At 16. You ain't even supposed to be taking creatine yet. They shooting up steroids. That's a hardcore drug, man. All because of what social media is doing. AI. Right? Let me get this precept. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 25. I'm going to start at 23. It says, start at 20. Salakia, because it's mean. My son, attend to my words. Incline thy ears to my sayings. Not to your phone, not to social media, to the words of the Most High. Every brother and sister watching this video and that's going to watch this video, examine yourself, man. Where does your attention go? Right? When you first wake up, what's the first thing you do? Is your first thought to look at your phone other than to look at the time? Or is your first thought to get on your knees and pray to the Most High? A lot of people say they don't have time to read the Bible. I've heard people say it, I just don't have the time. And if you ask them to show you their screen time on their phone, they done spent 10 hours on their phone a day. You got to ask yourself these questions. This is why we're staying in that. We're staying in that. He's calling it amnesia because he don't understand that Israelites have been in amnesia. We've been lost our memory. We've been lost who we are. Right? And we got it back. And some of us got it back. And we're going right back into being in that amnesia mind state by allowing the witchcraft and the enchantment of AI and the social media and the phones to make us forget who we are all over again. Forget that we're supposed to be children of the Most High God, consistently in the words of the Most High God, calling out to the Most High God. Me and the brother was talking earlier about, hey, we probably not crying out to the Lord enough. Right? Crying out to the Most High God. Hey, we ain't crying out. We just look at our phone. You have a bad day. Hey, I'm going to look at my phone. It's crazy. Right? It says, hey, you have a bad day. You kind of find funny Marco, or one of these Instagram comics. You kind of looking at them. You don't fall on your knees and call on the Lord. right? So it says what? Verse 21, let them not depart from thine eyes, keep them in the midst of thine heart, right? So we got to be focused as Esau continues to try to entice us with his witchcraft. And it says what? For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Put away from thee the forward mouth and perverse lips, and put far from thee. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. Hey, we supposed to have a straight, linear eyesight, man. We're not supposed to be deterred. But the thing is, Esau understands how our minds operate, and everything he's created with his witchcraft, and he concoction his in his labs, right? In his damn tech laboratories. It's all set up for what? To deter us from our minds being stayed on the Most High, right? Hey, to transform us into to be who he wants us to be. If you think upon things for too long, sooner or later, you're going to want to be that. You're going to react that way. You're going to do that, right? Esau see you kind of, oh yeah, he like looking at them half-naked Instagram models, huh? All right, I got you. Kind of go on explore it. Every time you want to explore, ain't nothing but half-naked Instagram models on there. Now you lusting. And you like, I don't understand why I got this lust demon on me so bad, man. Brother, what you looking at on social media? Maybe you need to put the phone down for a while. Hey, we had a brother, not to tell anybody's business, that we had a brother that was in one of the camps, and he had one stipulation. And it was about social media. He couldn't hold on to that. You see, that's the hold they have on our people, man. And they're gonna find an excuse for why they were on there. And that's what a drug at. Let's look at this real quick. Let's look this up real quick. And I'm gonna let you get on there, J Mike, and then we'll finish the video out. All right, let's look this up real quick. All right, I'm gonna type it in and I'm gonna share my screen. Hey, what's the word? What is it? What is another word for a drug user, J Mike? Addict. All right. I'm gonna share this. Right. I'm gonna share my screen. Right. I haven't looked at this before. Right. Never looked at it. Let's share my screen. Let's see if this is what some people say when it comes to their phone. Right. So lies that a substance abuser will tell themselves include: I don't have an addiction. I can live without it. I can stop whenever I want. It's not that much. I only use occasionally. I'm not that bad as. I just like the feeling. It hasn't changed me at all. Hey, tell me that ain't the same thing people gonna say about their phone, man. Hey, I ain't that bad. Hey, I'm not an addict. I can stop when I want. It's not that big of a deal. And then they find an excuse for why they got to get on there. Right? It's the same thing, man. But you got it, King.
And just to, touch to as what you was talking about as far as, our focus, you know what I'm saying? Like we legit have to be tunnel vision, right? Like the brother was going into, we already lost our heritage. There's been few that have been called back into it, you know what I'm saying, by being enlightened by way of these scriptures. But then there's so many things like pulling us away, and it's hard to stay focused, right? So this one on tunnel vision with Matthew 6:22. It says, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. And your eye being single, that's that tunnel vision, focus. You know what I'm saying? Because it also says in the book of Sirach that the eye is down to the most evil thing on your body. Like, let me see if I can grab that real quick. Sirach 31 And 13, it says, remember that a wicked eye is an evil thing, and what is created more wicked than an eye? Therefore it weepeth upon every occasion, right? So it depends. Whatever you focus on, you know what I'm saying? If you're focused on, things of the light, basically, you know what I'm saying, which we know the light would be catered to, the words of God, or, having those actions, right? Then that's what you'll be focused on. But if you're focused on everything else outside of it, you'll be more so predicated or focused upon darkness. And therefore that's what makes that, that eye so evil, right? You know what I'm saying? Let me get one more thing real quick on that. Another classic. It's Psalm 19. Psalm 19 and 8. It says, the statutes of the Lord are right, rejoice in the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes, right? And we understand that this whole book is a book full of commandments, not just the first 5 chapters, right? And this is a book that we ought to hearken to. So within the parameters of this book is what's gonna give you that where your focal point should be, right? This is what's gonna enlighten your eyes. This is how your vision should be seen, right? We can't let all these other distractions, including these devices, to where obviously we're addicts. You know what I'm saying? I can't say I'm on this video and I'm saying this, and I'm not as bad as I used to be when I was younger, but there are times to where I feel like I should either delete these apps, or I should just put my phone up somewhere and just, turn it off and not fool with it all day. Leave it in the room or something and go do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you got it, King. And as well, Black Karma, good point. You know what I'm saying? With that, people, the lovers of themselves or whatnot. But go ahead.
I always tell brothers all the time. Brothers be like, "Man, you didn't see what I sent you on Instagram?" I always say the same thing to brothers. I don't got the app on my phone. Like I always say that. Like I know I'm not like the brother said. I'm on here, but I know it's enchantment. It's enticing. I'm not foolish to think that I can't be enticed by it. You know what I'm saying? I take the app off my phone because I know, I can spend a lot of time on it if I don't. You know what I'm saying? I look up and I done spent too much time on it. I have it on there for a moment. Then I just take the app off. You know what I'm saying? I go without the app forever. Same with Facebook. I take the app off. I go without it. The only app that stays on my phone be X. And that's because like X, I look at a lot of like news stuff. I don't be looking at like nothing but news stuff. It just be a bunch of stuff that's going on in the world that you don't see nowhere else but on X. So I look at news stuff on X, but I don't have no posts. I don't have no followers on X. None of that. I just follow a bunch of news things, man. You know what I'm saying? So like that's the only one that stays on my phone. Other than that, man, I'll take everything else off. That's why my brothers be sending me stuff. If I get on there right now, I probably have 50 messages that I haven't looked at yet. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what it can do. You know what I'm saying? And we have to understand, like, if you sincerely, like the brother says, lack of sincerity and seeking the Lord, right? And to walk upright before the Most High. Like, if you sincere and you starting to understand and know that this amnesia through AI is taking hold of you, you have to sincerely be honest with yourself. I did a class just this week on honesty. Be honest with yourself, man, and say, you know what? I need to take these apps off my phone. And if you can't say that to yourself, then your addiction is worse than you think it is. If you can't tell yourself, I'm going to take these apps off my phone for 2 weeks, then your addiction is worse than you think it is. And you have a God that's not the Most High. And you better be in fear of that, man. Because you'll go 2 weeks without reading your Bible. So you better be in fear of that, man. Right? So let's finish this video off and then go ahead and close out this our video, right?
To home, don't panic. This means that something inside of you still remembers. And if there's memory, that means that there is a way back. So there are 6 steps to starting to remember your way back. Step 1, see the fog. Every reach for your phone, every scroll, start tracking the stuff. Don't fight the trance, just notice the trance. The fog loses power when you can see it and you're aware of it. Step 2, drop the mask completely. Our world wants you to be obsessed with how people perceive you. This culture wants you to be fearful of what people think. Say 3 true things that you've never said before, even to yourself. Step 3, get into your body. Return to the instrument of your being, more in tune with your body. Get mindful, feel your ribs move, breathe like it's your only job. Step 4, returning and recovering what you buried. Dream or a passion or some wildness that was inside of you, that was exiled. It was not extinguished. Step 5, make the ordinary things sacred. Your words shape the future. This is not mysticism. This is neuroplasticity. You're getting your brain back. Step 6 is leave a trail. Write down 1 sentence. Tape it anywhere that you're going to see it. Something that says, I was here and I remembered. That might sound ridiculous, but if you even try this for a couple of days, I want you to comment down below what happened having that weird phrase put up where you could see it. So before you go back into your life, before the noise starts to creep back in, I want to leave you with something important. And it's not a warning. It's not a solution. It's a couple of questions. And once these questions are planted inside you, they might never let you rest the same way again. What parts of me have I already forgotten? What instincts started to grow quiet? What dreams did I have that grew small? What parts of myself have I lost? Not because I changed, but because I stopped remembering those parts. And if some of those pieces are missing, I want you to answer each one of those with a follow-up question of, did I let them slip away, or did something take those from me? So memory isn't lost all at one time. Memory is chipped away, and it's 1,000 little compromises over the course of a period of time. And it happens over and over.
I want to get a precept on what he just said, and this is the precept that the camp, one of the camp motto precepts that we live by, right? I got to get it in my phone because it's in the GNT, and J Mike, you should know with this. We pull this precept every day at camp. He says, memory doesn't happen all at once. It chips away little and little, right? And this is why we live by this precept here at Sons of Zion, right? It's the book of Sirach 19 and verse 1. And it says, if you do, you will never get rich. If you don't pay attention to small matters, you will gradually ruin yourself. You see, you have got to pay attention to small matters. You have to. Right? Because it's going to happen little by little. It's taking you away little and by little and by little and by little and by little, continuously taking you away. And you are being removed further and further away from the Most High God, right? Every time you allow AI, social media, and your phone to take parts of you away, man. Right? And you have to catch it. And it starts with what he said, that's step 2. Hey, don't mask it. Be honest with yourself, man. Be honest. Hey, I do have a problem. Hey, I do look at my phone too much. It starts there. That's the only time you're going to be able to track it. That's the only time. If you don't actually admit to yourself, I got a problem, and they make it so they're so crafty. Once upon a time, you could do everything on your phone but apply for jobs. Now, you can apply for jobs on your phone, so you don't even want to pick up your laptop no more for your job applying. I just use your phone. No. Get back on your laptop. If you want to defeat this demon, hey, get back on the laptop and apply for your phone, for your jobs. Don't fall victim to it, because what you're going to do is you're going to apply for the job, then you're going to go look at Instagram. You're going to go apply for a job, then you're going to look at Facebook. That's what it's going to make you do. You're going to apply for a job, and then you're going to get an alert, and you're going to go look at that alert. So you have to be honest with yourself, and you can't mask it. Then you got to track it. You got to track just means pay attention. Just pay attention. Damn, I'm about to get on my phone again. Here I am again. Slop. Right? So this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 28, and verse 6. And it says, better is the poor man that walketh in his uprightness than he that is perverse in his ways, though he be rich. The reason why I read that is because the poor man is better than the rich man, because what he walketh in his uprightness, his honesty, his integrity. You can't have honesty and integrity if you're continuing to lie to yourself. Right? You're masking the truth, right? This is Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 13. He that covereth his sins shall not prosper, but whoso confesseth and forsaketh them shall have mercy. So you have to confess these things. You have to in order to confess them to the Most High, to ask the Most High to help you through this, you have to actually accept it within yourself that you are dealing with it. If you're lying to yourself about dealing with it, you'll never confess it to the Lord. You'll never ask the Lord to help you through it. These phones, this social media, these things were not set up for your benefit. We can utilize these things for our benefit, but we have to understand when they're being used to our detriment. Right? You got it, King.
No, I was just gonna tap in on that part the way he's saying, like, basically, you know, if it's like you said, it chips away at your memory. But if you can at least just remember, you know, that's a good sign. You know what I'm saying? And then try to get back to where you was, right? And that's all the Lord has ever wanted from us, right? Remember who we are, return back to the Lord, repent, do the first works. You know what I'm saying? Like it says it time and time again, you know what I'm saying? To where like even what in Kings, you know what I'm saying? Like saying that we're gonna be in our land, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna remember, return back to the Lord. That's all the Lord wants. Prime one that I always get, like we just had that Q&A about the other week. It was one of the questions or whatever. And he was like, you know, what's a precept that basically, you know, that you can always go to, one of your favorites that kind of like get you to snap to and get back in line. And this was mine, a classic. It's Revelation 2:4. It says, nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast because thou hast left thy first love. Remember that, golly, Salaki. All right, I'm gonna read it again. Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. Remember therefore from whence thou art fallen, and repent, and do the first works. And it's more on that, but that's the point, because a lot of us, when we came into this, you know, we on fire, like what the boy brought out earlier, as far as like if we was utilizing these devices for the right things, it wouldn't be a problem. At that point in time, when you first come in, we're utilizing it for the right things. We're looking up the etymology. We're in the Bible. We're doing comparative context. We're looking up the history. We're trying to just do everything we can to build ourselves up away from the lies that we was taught from this world. You know what I'm saying? And then try to, you know, increase our walk, you know what I'm saying, in this truth or whatever. But it's like as time goes along, there's so many things and devices. I mean, you got literal and spiritual devices pulling you away from your first love. And that's what we got to do. We got to remember, return back to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Even though this is not a sin, it's kind of like what brothers always be saying as far as when it come down to surfetting. It ain't no sin to be in your phone or whatever the case may be. But if you overindulge, especially somebody, you know, that has a problem, like what you brought up, you know, with I don't want to put it out there, but the brother couldn't refrain from his phone from a certain thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like next thing you know, with certain things, it's like it's going to be steadily on your mind. You're going to keep doing it. And now all of a sudden you might end up acting on that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's where the problem goes. It's steadily pulling you away until all of a sudden you're right there at that borderline of crossing over to wickedness and you get yanked over. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that. So before it gets to that point, of course, like you say, if you have a little bit, the least bit of memory, and you can remember, right? Remember, you know, from where you are falling, you know what I'm saying, from where you was at first and then return. You know what I'm saying? That I feel like that was pretty plain. But it's some more on that, but I feel like that hammered it home, my point of what I was trying to say.
So with that, we'll go ahead and close out this week's Shabbat service. You know, it's a little bit past the time, 108. Got a children's class. The kids got to get on. Want to make sure that they handling their business, right? Most high willing, somebody was edified. We'll be on the time as the video is being played in the coming days, right? The witchcraft of Esau and Babylon. Stay focused. Shalom.
Shalom.